So, folks, that's what an athletic director does. His main job is enterprise business. It's to raise money, okay? And when you look at the Deion Sanders situation, man, I'm going to tell you, the happiest man in the world is the athletic director at Colorado. And that's what I was saying about Ball State, man. They're not even close. They can't even keep their attendance up. So while you're throwing stones and telling us how great Ball State is, man, you need to get somebody in there to help Ball State. Because if you get somebody in there to help Ball State, let me tell you what you can do. You can turn that program around, okay? And you get sellouts. And that's what Colorado's doing. So when you come to enterprise business, and when I always tell you, folks, when you're unsuccessful, you can have a lot of friends. When you're successful, you're going to have a lot of enemies, okay? But Prime don't have that. Prime been doing this for a long time. So this ain't no big deal to Deion Sanders. But Deion Sanders, and they're talking about a culture in football. Folks, let me tell you why he's going to be the Power 5 Coach of the Year, because he's got a culture, okay? The culture that he has set, the players have bought into it, and he just picked up a big-time recruit, Gage, okay, his father, Bill Gage, and this is the deal, man. They're coming. Why did Nick Saban leave Alabama? He don't want to compete with Deion. I repeat, why did Nick Saban leave Alabama? Because he doesn't want to compete with Deion Sanders. He knows what's coming down the pike. Now, here's the deal about coaching, and guys talking about coaching. You know, when I played football, you know, and that's a long time ago, but I can remember all the coaches, you know what they did? They set up in a tower with a bullhorn. They set up in a tower with a bullhorn. Okay, and when they wanted something corrected, they talked through the bullhorn. Okay, that's the way Bear Bryant did it. That's the way they did it at Georgia. That's the way they did it at UCLA. I mean, they were way up. They watched practice. So everybody's got this myth about coaching football. And, you know, that's not what it's about. It's about building your culture, which is an African-American culture. It's about playing that music, okay? And when I talk about people talking about playing music and all that, get it fixed. You know what? In the NFL, I get to the games at 8 a.m. in the morning, okay, when I cover the NFL game. I arrive at the stadium because I want to see the build-up to the game. I want to see how it goes, how the fans come in, how the players come in, how the players get ready for the game. And, folks, let me tell you something in the NFL. These guys turn that music up loud. I'm watching them bang their heads against the wall, banging, banging, banging. They're coming out. They're shaking their head. Man, when you see these guys in the NFL, that music is what gets you pumped, okay? Now you go to the next build-up in the NFL, what happens is these guys are going to go out there and they're going to take the field. And I go out there early because some guys come at 9 a.m. in the morning and check the field, okay? I'm telling you all this because the culture that Deion Sanders has built is the NFL culture, okay? And what the people are struggling with, Money Mike's going to call it like it is, the people are struggling because the coaches don't matter. That's why they're struggling. The NCAA football coaches don't matter, okay? They got to take a different stance. And Nick Saban said, I can't do it. So he got out, he quit. He says, I'm done, I got enough. This game is changing right in front of my eyes, okay? And so when you get something like that and you start building your depth chart, I'll go back to that depth chart, you're going to get up there in the second year, you're going to fill in the holes. You're going to even compete anymore, okay? So when people say he's not going to do this, not going to win this, he's doing this, come on, guys, get off of that, okay? He's going to go in there with a two-year depth chart, okay? He's filling it in. And folks, by the third year, man, he probably win the national championship, okay? Because these guys he's getting, let me just tell you this, these are not ordinary guys, okay? These guys are pros. I'm talking about, and let's call it what it is. Money Mike's going to finally say it, because what everybody doesn't want to say, I'm going to say. NCAA football is the G League for the National Football League. NCAA football, Power 5, okay, D1, is the G League for the NFL, okay? Let's just call it what it is, okay? So when these guys talk about his son missing a meeting, man, I hope he missed 25 more. That boy's a millionaire, okay? These cats are talking, man, they're talking about Deion and his sons. Man, let me tell you something, man. These guys are millionaires, okay? And the people who talking about them are not millionaires, okay? That's the problem, okay? And one thing you don't want to see in America is an African-American male controlling the money. And that's what the money flow is all about. Now, you ask Colorado's athletic director, he ain't upset. He's happy as a lark. He's like, y'all can keep on talking. Because see, y'all ain't going to call out the Colorado athletic director who's giving Deion all this money. You know why? Because you got problems at your own university. Okay, and trust me, folks, when you win, in this whole game about athletics and everything, let me just cut through it's about students. Colorado get out there and win those games, man, they're going to attract more students. And you know what else they're going to attract they haven't had is more African-American students. You know what happens when you get more African-American students? You can go to government and get more money. Okay? Let's not fool the American people. Okay? And all you guys and coaches are been getting this 8, 10, 12, $14 million a year. Now all of a sudden you've been having a free product. And you know what? It goes all the way back if you haven't seen the movie Air. Okay? Air, when Sonny Vaccaro was recruiting Michael Jordan. You know what? But what they didn't show you in that was Chris Rivers. Okay? And Chris Rivers, African-American brother, one of the most powerful men in pro basketball. Okay? But you guys don't know who he is. You just watch Sonny. Deion Sanders, most powerful. Okay? And to you guys that are trying to do these podcasts and you're trying to get on the media and you're trying to do let me tell you about Prime. Prime took that NFL network, man. He could break down that game better than anybody out on that staff at the NFL network. And Prime can break that game down better than the NFL coaches. Okay? And let me tell you who he's got, okay? So after he builds that depth, you want to build that depth chart. Because, see, at practice, you have to have competition. Okay, these ain't average players. These guys are stars, okay? And when you talk about stars competing, like the University of Miami, you get them all in there, folks, you got combustion. We gonna get it in, okay? And I've already told you about my history. I try to tell you as much as I can about my background, so you'll get a better understanding of who am I, okay? They had Last Chance U, and that's old Coach JB, but I went to First Chance U. That was Coach George Rush, City College, San Francisco. Folks, let me tell you something. Man, we practiced so hard. We hit each other so hard. By the time I got to Chico State, the head coach was Trimmer. And Trimmer told me, son, we don't hit our players like that. Well, you know what? We go live. Deion is going to go live in practice, okay? And when he goes live with all that talent, iron sharpens iron in the NFL. Repeat, iron sharpens iron. You get all the one-on-one drills, DBs, and all that going against each other. Come on, folks. Now, by the third year, you got a combustion explosion, and you got the NFL draft picks. And let's face it, what made Alabama separate? Well, Alabama, you go to Alabama, you got all 32 teams there with the scouts every day. What's going to happen in Colorado? You're going to have all 32 teams with the scouts there every day, okay? This is not about X's and O's. See, people got to confuse what these head coaches do. Okay, it's not the head coaches, you get the assistants. And when you got great assistants, they will do the job for you. That's what it's about. Deion doesn't have to coach a feather. Deion Sanders doesn't have to coach a feather. But let's get right into it. You know, we took care of that. That's the depth chart. He's going to be coach of the year with that depth chart. But let's talk about his sons at a media event in Paris. Folks, this ain't the regular old college football. And this ain't about missing the first meeting and no culture. And none of that kind of stuff. None of that matters, man. I don't know why these guys are talking about culture. Okay, you're talking about two guys who are getting NIL money. They got agreements that they've signed. They got contracts. The game has changed. And those who don't want to change, I got my good friend tells me all the time, if you don't embrace technology, it's going to pass you by. If you don't embrace this new way football and the business is today, and the college football being the G League for the NFL, it's going to pass you by, okay? Because that's what you got. And at the end of the day, folks, let me tell you about Pat Shermer. Man, Pat Shermer's a football coach. Pat Shermer didn't coach the tight ends and coach the running backs, okay? He coaches quarterbacks. He's an offensive coordinator. He doesn't need to have Shador at the meeting. He's already in connect with him. Anything covered in the meeting, him and Pat will go off separately and discuss it. That's how the NFL works. What Deion is doing, he's jumping in and he's saying, this is what you need to play in the NFL. That's the game, folks. So let's don't get it twisted when you're talking about somebody's got to be at a meeting. Man, I got $1 million contracts. This game has changed. This game is going to change the amount of players that are going to go to the NFL. Because the whole purpose of going to the NFL is to get paid. But if we already getting paid, we don't need to go to the NFL. So that's going to dilute a lot of players. That's my overall fear of the game. Okay. Plus, you got the XFL. Those guys have been trying to get that right for a long time. And they're going to play football in that league. They probably won't have as much safety. I haven't seen the rules. I may be speaking too soon. But what I've seen, they're going to play football. So you got to know that the game is changing. The players are changing. And when you got $1 million, $2 million, $3 million players, man, come on, guys. Let's don't talk about the team. We finally got it there where these guys can get some money. Now you're trying to hold them up and try to have them attend the meeting? Come on, man. That's not how it works. That guy's going to be a senior. That guy's ready to go. He don't need no training or meeting. The guy, he knows the playbook. So let's keep it moving. Pat Sherman, boy, and I'll tell you who Pat Sherman's dad was, Fritz Sherman. And, man, that Fritz Sherman with them L.A. Rams, man, he would play Bill Walsh, and he would lock Bill Walsh down. That's the only coach, okay, Pat Sherman's father, who I seen lock Bill Walsh's offense down. So this guy, Pat Sherman, knows defense, he knows offense, and he's coached in the league, been around the league, and he knows everything about the league. And when you get somebody like that knows everything about the league, let me tell you what happens. Everything kind of changes, and it makes it like, what are we going to do next to get back on track? Because at the end of the day, here's what I see. I see Deion Sanders and his son, they're going to do what they have to do, and it's not going to be regular. It's not going to be attending meetings. It's not going to be going in and doing all the things you normally do. That's not going to be the case. So you have to know that, and you have to know that it's different, okay? And when you get Pat Shermer, and like I said, his dad was Fritz Shermer, okay, you don't need to go to the meetings. Guys, let's stop this. Let's stop this. You know, guys and quarterbacks, that's why quarterbacks have offices. That's why they can go in their office. You know, you talk about it, guys, these guys are separate. They don't do the same thing. Quarterbacks do not get treated the same. They don't do the same thing as everybody else. Get a clue. His son is a DB. Probably move to corner when he gets to the NFL. Still, they're going to do things differently. There's a different regimen to get into the NFL. So I wanted to bring that back, and then I want to talk about Deion as a black father. Man, oh man, let me tell you about black fatherhood. When you get somebody who is standing behind you, okay, that's supporting you, that's holding you up. Yeah, that's his son, okay, but guess what? Okay, he got another 80 players around there, his sons too. And he don't treat them differently. Okay, those guys who couldn't play, okay, they could have went to any other schools in the Big 12, and they might not even made the roster. It's Money Mike talking to you from Money Mike City Candy Radio Podcast. Those guys could have went to another university in the portal, transferred, but guess what? They wouldn't have played. That's the reality of the game, folks. When you step up in competition, okay, only the cream gonna rise to the top. And that's what you got. But Deion's a father, okay? When you talk about somebody's a father, okay, that means he's going to support him to the end, okay, no matter what. As you guys talk about his son, yeah, that's his son. And yes, his son is a first-round NFL draft pick. Okay, get over it. It's not my fault that you didn't have children. That's why I talk about Jason Whitlock. I'm like, Jason Whitlock, you don't even have children, okay? But now you can go read a book, and you go read a book about the theory of how to raise your kids. And that just blew me away when I heard somebody say, I mean, how you going to read a book and then you're going to come talk to me about how I'm going to raise my kid? Deion is doing what he's supposed to do. Deion is doing what God has instructed him to do. And Deion ain't coming down here to the lowland, okay? He's not going to be like Stephen A. and come down here to the lowland and deal with you. He's going to keep doing what he's doing because his movement is too big to stop now. And it's coming together, okay? You got Warren Sapp in there, man. You got so many guys, man. I would love to see him get Marshall Faulk up there, man. Marshall Faulk is a genius, okay? Is a genius. So you got to know that when you're a black father, man, you're pioneering. You got to show your children what the world is and what it can do. It's kind of like me and myself. My son said, Dad, how are they making all this money? I said, son, they're just working hard. You know, and he says, Dad, I want to do the same. I said, okay, let me get a podcast going. I'll show you how to do it. I'll show you everybody that's on this. I'll show you exactly how to make $1 million. Okay? But it doesn't mean that I'm giving you the context. Now, the content is you got to work 12, 14 hours a day until you peel back and you get everything in the logistics in order. Okay? So that's what it's all about. He's showing his sons, this is how you do it. This is how you handle the money. Okay? Now, when you get in there and you look at God's purpose, and when you've been chosen and God gifted, that means God has given you the blueprint. And you know why everybody's hating on Deion Sanders? Because they don't have the blueprint. Okay? He took the blueprint to Jackson State and filled up the stadium. Now, this is what I'm talking about, the money flow. See, everybody wants to talk about the coaching. This ain't about coaching. It's about the amount of money he's bringing in. That's what it's about. And when he was at Jackson State, they wasn't doing it. He came in, put facilities in, and packed the house, 60,000. Wasn't working at Colorado State, came in, packed the house, sold every seat they got. Standing room only they'll be selling this next year. Because that AD, he ain't turning down no dollars. As we say in our black America, our community, that AD at Colorado is not turning down his collar. He gonna take every dollar he can get. And while all y'all talking about him, he like, y'all keep talking while I take this money and put it in the Colorado bank account. That's the game, folks. So you gotta know he has a purpose. Snoop Dogg. Man, you probably tell me Snoop Dogg can't coach. Snoop Dogg been coaching for 30 years. Okay? You're probably gonna tell me Luke, Miami, the rapper, he can't coach. Man, Luke been coaching for 30 years, man. Ed Reed can coach. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you look at the guys that can coach, man. There's a lot of guys that can coach. And what happens is, all you do when you got the blueprint, this is the difference for those who don't have the blueprint. Those who don't have the blueprint, they want the business plan. I repeat, those who do not have the blueprint, who are talking about Deion, they have never done it. They haven't won Super Bowls. They haven't played on multiple teams and changed the culture. This man has, okay? That's called the blueprint. And they want that blueprint so bad. I repeat, they want his blueprint so bad, but guess what, folks? They can't have it. Deion ain't giving that up. Deion ain't giving it up. He's got the blueprint. And when you got the blueprint, man, let me tell you something. You have to go in there and listen to Bill Goldberg. You know what? You know where Bill Goldberg's son Sage was going? He was going to Alabama. Okay? You understand he was going to Alabama? Nick Saban retired. Do you know where he's going? He said, look, man, when Nick told me he was retiring, I called Colorado. Okay, this is not an African American. Okay, this is a Caucasian American, white American. This man chose Deion Sanders. Why? Because his son knows what it is. His son knows who Pat Shermer is. Man, if his son starts getting that coaching, man, he's going to the league. Come on, fellas. Don't treat this like nobody knows what's going on. This is Deion. This is prime time. This man has turned around businesses. This man has put schools in. This man has spent a lot of money helping the community. And guess what? Because he done that, I always told you, if God can get it through you, he can get it to you. He got a whole lot of more money coming in. Colorado got so much money, they don't need no money. All right, let me tell you, Colorado is making merchandise and all that. Don't get it twisted. Okay, so you get there, Bill Goldberg. So when a man has a purpose, he ain't listening. Deion's purpose is such a high calling. And his coaching abilities, man, he's played in the NFL. You know what hurt my heart? He came play for the San Francisco 49ers. Man, we couldn't beat Dallas, man. Come on, Deion, let's roll. We grabbed Deion, man, and Deion came in and shut Michael Irvin down. Shut him down. You can talk about pass interference or whatever. Shut him down. Deion was so good that Jerry Jones said, I can't have this. I can't have it. I can't have that man over there doing that. So guess what he did, man? He came in there and gave Deion a whole bunch of money. But while Deion was there and he calling him boss, Jerry Jones, he always calls him boss. You know what's going on with that? Because of Jerry Jones taught him about business. Taught him about how to make that money, what to do with that money. He can call on Jerry anytime, and this is what we do. That's the business, folks. Relationships. That's what we do. But you get in there, we talk about coaching duties, man. There's only a few people out there that have this kind of gift. And, because Deion Sanders, man, the one thing about Deion, he'd flash, cleaner than the Board of Health. But the thing is, Deion don't smoke. Deion don't drink. I mean, that's a pure individual. Okay, when you're an individual like that, man, that changes life. Don't get me wrong, I like to have my cigars. I like to have a beer every now and then. This guy don't even drink. This guy is pure, okay? And not only is he pure, this guy's having his toes, everything amputated. He's coaching through all that. So all you guys that are talking about him, I wonder if you could do what he's doing. You know why he's keep going? Because he knows God's given him this purpose. And it ain't going to change, okay? So keeping it 100, that's what I do. And the only other guy I can tell you, man, like Deion, same guy, Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather, man, I can watch his fights. I can watch one fight 100 times because it's all about perfection. It's all about perfection. I'm watching Deion Sanders right now. You know what it's all about? It's all about perfection. He's going to perfect it, man. He knows what it needs. But Floyd, man, those guys are fathers. You go in the gym, they work, they earned it. All the guys who are talking right now, this is what I'm going to tell you, They never done it, and they never earned it. So when you listen to them, you want to check out who did they play for and what did they do. Because you are fooled, and coaching football is a simple game, folks. Let me tell you how simple it is, okay? Because when we get into coaching, that's the same thing as telling me Aaron Rodgers can't coach basketball. That's ridiculous. Okay, here's the thing. When coaching in the NFL, you can coach just about every position. It's not going to matter. Because the first thing the coach is going to do is get the technique. That's how it works, folks. You get the technique, because once we get you in the technique, then we can coach the technique. Then the player, give it to the players can provide the technique in the game. But at the end of the day, folks, football is a very simple game. It's not complicated. It's not very confusing at all. Okay? What do I mean by that? Well, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to come out and stretch. Then you're going to go to one-on-one. Okay? Wide receivers, DBs. Okay? D-lineman, offensive line. We're going to do one-on-ones. Then after we do the one-on-ones, we stretch. We go through our individual drills. We do the one-on-ones. Then we're going to take it to 7-on-7. Okay, and then by the time you get to 7-on-7, we'll go out there, we're going to throw the ball around, DB's going to cover it, sometimes it's live, but we're going to make it live. Okay, and then by the time you get to that, we're going to integrate everybody and go 11-on-11. You're going to repeat this process every day. The words in football, anybody who's played this game, you'll never forget, it's called do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again, do it again. Now, you got all athletes in the NFL, they're all equal, so your guy's just as good as this guy. So they're going to hit equal. You can play a 0-0 game. But somebody's got to tell them this. And this is what Deion tells all his players. Somebody got to make a play. Somebody got to make a play. Okay? That's the difference maker. Okay? The other coaches are coaching up and down. They're yelling and screaming. Deion's calm, city time. Like, somebody got to make a play. All right? If you don't make a play, we're not going to win. But that's how you build up a team. So here's a list of guys I can think right now. They haven't coached, but they can coach. I think Marshall Faulk can coach. I think Tom Brady can coach. I think Aaron Rodgers can coach. I think Warren Sapp can coach. I know Ed Reed can coach because that's the smartest safety ever played the game. I believe Jerry Rice can coach a football team. Joe Montana could coach a football team. Nick Vrabel just got let go of the Tennessee Titans. Man, he can coach any team. And that Nick Vrabel thing, that was just a mutual separation. Here's what I think with the Patriots and the way everybody's talked about Bill, and wherever Bill lands, here's what I think is really going to happen. I think they're going to have a little Patriot reunion because I know Nick Saban and Bill Belichick are thicker than thieves, man. Those guys are best buddies, and they got on that horn, and they were talking, and you know what those guys said to each other was, hey, you know what? Let's go do something else. And you know what they did? They went right in there, and they did something else, folks. You have to really catch that and know that these guys are bigger than life, and they're better than life, and they can do it differently than anybody else. That's the key that I see. That's the difference. Okay, so when we get down to it, we wrap this up here, and I'm going to wrap it up here really quick, is you got, Nick Vrabel can coach, Peyton Manning can coach, Teddy Bruschi. Man, Teddy Bruschi be a good coach. And, of course, John Lynch can coach. Okay, so the whole thing I'm trying to understand, Deion Sanders is going to be Power 5 Coach of the Year. Deion Sanders' son's going to a media event. That's not a big deal. Deion Sanders, being a black father, taking care of all his children, that is a big deal. That's a big deal to me. And you're going to get in there and you're going to find out that the most important thing I tell you in the NFL with the Rooney Rule, you're not just getting a coach, you're getting a father. And folks, I'm telling you, man, you're going to have a lot of people, a lot of players get to the NFL, they don't have fathers, okay? And they're not going to be like Bill Gage. You know what Bill Gage was talking about when his son, Nick Saban, had moved and was leaving Alabama or whatever? He was all prepared. He said, I'm already prepared to go down there and buy a house in Alabama. Okay, that's the game how it's played. Okay, when you get that type of money, these guys they can go in and buy their own house. They don't have to live in student housing. They don't have to live in apartments. They can go buy a condo. And that's the way the games we play because, folks, the amount of time and money they're putting in there, they got to have that. So we covered the Power 5. We covered the Deion Sanders, the media event. He was the best media person on NFL Network. Talked about black fathers, the purpose. Deion Sanders is beyond and above doing what he should do as a father. We talked about Colorado being the blueprint. And the blueprint he used at Jackson State is the same blueprint he's using at Colorado. And none of the other NCAA coaches or none of the other media or nobody else knows the blueprint but him. Because at the end of the day, folks, when you're in business, nobody gets your business plan. If somebody asks you for a business plan, you better go run away from me. You come and ask me for a business plan. Because why am I going to put boots on the ground, do all the hard work, and turn it over to you. And that's what Deion did. Deion put boots on the ground when he worked for the NFL Network. He was at the stadium looking at practices. He went into buildings. He's nurturing players, mentoring players, and that's what he's been doing all along. And that's why everybody loves Deion, because they know he stands for the kids, not for himself. Deion doesn't have to do this. He's already got plenty of money. So when the guy's got plenty of money, he's basically doing it for free. Because the money there Colorado's paying him, it ain't going to make a difference to his income. He's set. He's already got it set and he's locked up. Okay, so he's got God purpose. He's repeating the blueprint. His coaching abilities, guys, if you can't do what he's done, leave it alone. Leave it alone. If you can't coach like Deion, leave it alone. Okay, everybody gets on the media and talks about doing something. If you haven't played in the league, you don't have a Super Bowl ring, leave it alone. Jason Whitlock and you, all the stuff you talk with the being black and doing this and the culture. You know what that is for, Coach? You know what that's for, folks? Jason Whitlock is talking about a small Division III school. That's what happens when you control the culture. Those are the guys that show up to the meetings. These guys are going to be playing at the Power 5. And they got contracts, they got speaking engagement. So the whole landscape is changing. That little coach making a meeting? Man, I'm stop, folks. I'm stop, because Money Mike, sometimes I get my blood pumping, but I want to let you know that the media, these ex-coaches who have coached and cannot do what he has done. Do you know this man has walked into Jackson State, beat Florida State, packed the house? He's walked into Colorado, won some games, and I'm not worried about that last year because here's what people lied to the public about. See, last year, Pac-12 had 8 teams ranked in the top 25. I went to my buddies. I said, guys, it's going to be a little rough. They said, why? They were talking about Deion's going to get it done. I said, no, there's 8 teams ranked in the top 25 out of the Pac-12. That means they got depth charts. That means they got coaches. They got guys lined up, and they've been in the program for years. So how are you going to take it against a man who's just starting the program, like an expansion team in the NFL? That's what he did, because that's how he knows how to do it. He's coming in just like an expansion team and took those guys to the top of the mountain. So, guys, come on, let's get it right, huh? And you know what? Coaches, technique. I mean, coaching is not hard. Coaching is not about teaching the guys the game. When you get to this level, they know the game. Because these guys have been to camps. These guys have been to pro combines. These guys got workout drills. These guys play Madden. These guys are already ready to go. The athlete that was coming in 25, 30 years ago, or even 20 years ago, 15 years ago, not the same athlete. And this guy's got a pocket full of money in his pocket, and you better treat him with some respect. And if you think you can get away with that old-time coaching used to do 30 years, when I was playing, folks, we didn't have any CPS. So a coach could kick you in your blank. Okay, and all you could do is sit there and take it. And half the time, he was rightful to do it. So we didn't mind it. But he'd smack you upside the head, hit you in the head with a football. Come on, guys.